let's see what the Qi4D does. This is their core model. I see 4 weights. We have a loft sleeve. This is a fitter's dream. Let's take a look.
As a fitter, 4 weights is great. We dial this in. For personally, that's dangerous.
Welcome back to our Scottsdale studio. I'm Mark Roybal, joined by Master Club fitter Sam Kim. Today we have a special guest who's in charge of engineering, developing anything with the head cover from TaylorMade. We have Andrew Oldknow. Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
I'm excited. To be here. I'm excited. We have the Qi4D, we have the Qi4D Max, and we have the Qi4D LS. This is 5th generation carbon.
Yeah, we've done a lot of different things here. The biggest change we did is we changed the curvature, the geometry of the face.
Okay.
With gear effect, we can actually change how much a product wants to launch and how much it wants to spin. And it's really important across from high to low. So when you hit the center of face, which we all do, other than maybe like Rory where he sees a little tiny wear pattern.
Little dot.
Yeah, a little dot. The higher you hit it on the face, right, you loft the club, and because of gear effect, you create less spin. And when you hit it low on the face, you do the opposite, right? Launch low with lots of spin.
Yep.
We've changed the curvature now. We're actually, we've increased the launch just a little bit. We've dramatically decreased the spin. So on average, we're seeing about 1,500 differences of RPMs from like Qi35. And this year we're seeing about 700 between top to bottom. So we've lowered those RPMs by about 45%.
So very consistent too.
Super consistent, yeah. We weren't able to do a lot of this really tight geometry in the past because if you look at how you manufacture the material in the old days, especially with like metals, it's really hard to control the curvature. So you think about when somebody's like grinding on the face, like you create flat spots or like rounded edges, and we see like major inconsistencies. So you can't go too round with those processes. With this process with a carbon, because we're laying it up, we're putting it in a tool, it comes out of the tool, and it's like there's no hand prepping of the material after it comes out of the tool. We can go very accurately tight with these parts. And so from part to part, the first or the millionth, I'd love to sell 1 million drivers in one year. But overall, we see hardly any change whatsoever, like plus or minus about ½ inch of roll change. With titanium, we saw plus or minus 2. So in the old days, let's say you spec'd it at like 10, you might get some at 12, some at 10, some at 8. And so it's really hard to control as you go rounder. So now we're at a point where we can get this really tight rolls. And I'll just give you a quick anecdotal thing. Colin Morikawa, I love testing with that guy, but he'd always have like a sim driver with him in a head cover because he loved that driver. He just loved the way it launched and the spin rates he got off of it. And he always tells me, like, whatever you do, don't let me hit this more than 10 times because I might want to put it back in the bag. And so we measured it, and we actually found that he found this unicorn part that had the same roll as what we're doing today. Even though back then it was spec'd a lot flatter, but this is somebody had ground too much on it and created this very round face compared to what it used to be. And so now we're actually able to make these rolls exactly what he found, just accidentally, and now we can put it in all the product. And the beauty of this process is the one you test with versus the one you buy are identical now. So you have like more confidence that you go fit with a fitter and you have this great experience. And then you purchase a brand new head, you should have exactly the same head, because the tolerances now are so tight.
So the manufacturing process is so good that everything is just really, really tight from I'm hitting this one. I guarantee it's probably gonna be the same one that you get from a production standpoint as well.
Cool. Yeah.
I'm excited. I mean, the one thing that I noticed too in the core model, the 4D here, there's 4 weights. You look at that one, the LS that has 2 weights, interchangeable weights, and then even with the Max, you also have 2 interchangeable weights, which is exciting from a fitter standpoint.
Absolutely.
You can imagine our clients really just dialing into the best that we can via the weighting system, which I would assume we could change a lot of this.
Yeah, so as a company, we really wanted to stand for very specific goals, and so this year we try to do everything for everybody. But at the end of the day, we want to be the fastest and most fittable drivers for our consumers. And so, like you're looking at the core head with the 4 weights. This is a much faster head. Like the aerodynamics of this is so much better than where we were in the past. We're like softening up these details around here, so the air is as it's coming into impact, the air is flowing over better. You can see these crowns. We actually raised these crowns a little bit, and then we tucked in these protrusions, especially on this LS model. You can see how much more tucked in this is. So that air is flowing over and coming back together smoother, so you get less back pressure, so you can actually pull it through the air. We also look at like the transition zones or like acceleration, from sort of hip high to impact. you sort of pull through the hosel, as you start to accelerate. And so we look at airflow like across from hosel to back toe as well, and that's where these protrusions really make a difference. And so because of that, we're getting a faster product that we can create more product, more speed with. And then with the TAS system, we can get more fittable. So with the core one, we have 4, so you can go, full, left, right adjustments, all back for giving. Put the weight forward for like more speed. With the LS, because we tucked in these protrusions so much, we wanted to make sure that we had more weight in the back, so we went to a 2 system versus a 3, so we could get more weight in the back to keep that MOI high, even though we sort of tucked in that inertia generator. And then on the Max, this is our first adjustable weight Max driver. And so we were actually used different materials in that. That front metal piece of that is actually a forged aluminum, aerospace grade aluminum. It's been forged and milled. There's no hands touch that. There's there's no grinding on that. So we get a very accurate part. Wow. But that saved us, just that one part alone, saved us 9 grams of weight because it's so much lighter than tie. And that allowed us then to have that multi-TS weight and still have high MOI with the weight in the back.
And for those of you that don't fully understand what 9 grams of weight saved is, that's substantial. That's a lot.
Yeah, we geek out over like 1 gram. When we have 9
grams is like, whoa, that's a lot.
Yeah.
Well, we have 3 models here. I'm excited to test them in the bay, see what the numbers say. You could be an LS guy. I'm maybe more of a Max or maybe a Core. I don't know. Let's find out. Let's go hit a couple.
Let's do it. I can't wait. These look great.
All right, Andrew, Sam, I want us to start with the Qi4D Max. So this would be the more forgiving of the bunch.
Yes, absolutely. Highest MOI, deepest center of gravity, designed for anybody who's just trying to find middle face, hitting all over the face. We do see a lot of players that swing sort of outside and across the body, need more forgiving products, and we see a lot of like high spin shots off low toes, and so we're really trying to lower the spin rates, keep them under 3,000 RPMs. Is a nice feature there with that TAS weight, with the weight in the back versus weight forward. When we move weight forward, we typically on average see about 320 RPMs less spin.
Wow. So that's quite a bit.
Yeah.
Well, let's hit it, Sammy. Let's see what happens.
For my big right miss, this should be pretty good then.
Yeah, you should be able to turn that one over.
All right, let's see if I can do it.
Right out of the gate, Sammy, 5th generation carbon face. Give me a feel.
I hit a draw.
You hit a perfect draw.
The first thing I noticed, I guess, if we're going to be doing some comparison back to the previous gen,
Yep.
it's a different color. I think it's black, but it's not.
No, it's like a dark bronze.
Okay.
Outside, it looks really good against the green grass. We had a great little experiment we did this year. I actually created like Mr. Potato Heads, if you will.
Yeah.
I went to the Tour Championship, East Lake, and gave Scotty, Rory, Tommy, and Colin the opportunity to sort of put different crown colors and faces and pieces together to see what they really liked. And they, as a group, loved this color.
Awesome.
It just like fit well. They felt like they could see a little bit more face.
Yeah.
That rounder face is also helping with that too. But just it was like an aspiring, confident-looking shape and an overall look, especially against the green grass, where they want to make sure it looks good, but at the same time, like Tommy talks about the matte finish, not seeing as much reflections of like trees and people moving, so it allows him to really focus on his line.
Oh, it definitely worked for him.
Yeah, for sure.
If I didn't look at the bottom of this golf club and I just put it down behind the ball, I wouldn't know that this is the Max model or the draw model. I still think it sits very square and it's a really nice shape.
So again, a left start line, it would appear, Sammy, which would be kind of the intent of this product.
Totally, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
We want this to be the most left of all the 3 of them.
Okay.
I feel like I can hit draws now.
That's important.
There you go.
What I think is really great, Sammy, especially again from fitters that the Qi4D line has brought in, is so much adjustability. Specifically in their most forgiving model, having 2 interchangeable weights in their maybe draw bias driver is something that not everyone's been doing.
Yeah, I think historically draw bias drivers, if you will, or the more forgiving driver in the line are higher spinning.
Yep.
The fact that you can move that weight to the front of this thing, I think will be good for a lot of people.
Yeah, it's really good. I mean, we don't want you to lose spin either. We don't want you like in the 2200s. If you don't have enough ball speed, you need a bit of spin to keep the ball in the air to fly longer. But we definitely don't want to see it go above 29, 3,000 RPMs.
Again, just nice kind of tight draws there.
Yeah. Real consistent.
Andrew, explain to me why the draw bias model or your max model would be the higher spinning of the bunch. Why is that?
Yeah, so as you move weight back, like a teeter-totter, like if you have a heavy kid and a light kid on a teeter-totter, what's going to happen, right? The heavy kid's going to go down, the light kid's going to go up.
Okay.
And so what happens as you're swinging the golf club, because it can like centripetal force, you actually create dynamic lofting with the more weight back. The club head wants to loft more, and now you're presenting lower face more than you're presenting center face.
Yep.
And so we see more lower impacts on the face on average than you would with something that has less back weighting. And so what happens is the lower you hit in the face, the more spin you create. And so like the gear effect creates too much backspin for most players. And so having the ability to move that weight forward creates a little bit less dynamic lofting. You still have a really forgiving large shape. And now you're presenting more center face and you're able to get that sort of like lower trajectory with a little bit less spin.
That's great.
Yeah.
It seems as if all of these so far too have spun right around the same.
I was just thinking about that.
Which is great.
That was really our key with this, is to make sure they're very consistent from every impact you have across the face. We want to see very similar spin numbers, and then we can dial you in, with the club head itself in terms of more loft or move weights around or loft sleeve.
So that one, Sammy, that was your first one that was maybe a touch late or maybe kind of heel side, and you are right center of the fairway.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think for how open faced that felt, which it was open face, I would have expected that ball to move a decent more right, and that ends up being kind of just a straight ball.
Yeah, and you stayed under
I was
3,000.
just gonna say, yeah, under 3,000, which is our goal even with a shot like that.
So that's the one you're referring to, that kind of low toe ball, right?
Yeah, you're presenting more toe, a little bit
Yep.
lower, creating more spin. We don't want to eliminate it, but we don't want it to go too high.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, that peak height of 100 descent to 30, you're on tour right there, Sammy. That's pretty good.
Great. Yeah. This might be my new driver.
Last one here, Sam.
There we
That's
go.
pretty good, dude.
You went after that one.
That's probably the tightest grouping of golf balls with the driver I've ever hit. They did the same thing every single time.
Yeah, and your spin rates, Sammy, they've all kind of been in that 25, 27, like right in your window, which is a great golf ball on course, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Let's change it up. I'm gonna give you their core model, and we'll see what it does. All right, Sam, thanks for the show with the Max. Let's see what the Qi4D does. This is their core model. I see 4 weights. We have a loft sleeve. This is a fitter's dream. Let's take a look.
That's our fastest, most fittable driver that we have.
As a fitter, 4 weights is great. We dial this in. For personally, that's dangerous. Sit here and mess with it
You're
all
gonna
day.
tinker it a little bit?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So immediate from my end, Sammy, I'm just a plain competitor hearing you hit tee shots. Different sound. I don't know if acoustics have to do with the shape of it, maybe?
A little bit. We tried really hard this year. I mean, you look at the sole place now having nothing in here with no sliding weights, no extra weights in the middle, all having the very similar look to them. We look at the CAD analysis of how these things are moving. We're trying to make them sound similar to each other.
Okay.
Yeah.
Initial thoughts, putting it down. Definitely the biggest observation I got this year from core model was the size. This looks smaller, like definitely looks smaller. And the bottom looks a little different too, shaping wise.
Yeah, so the aerodynamics of this, we tucked in the sole that we used to have that larger protrusion in the back. We tucked that in a bit to get better aero out of it. That's the reason why we put 2 weights in the back, right in the back. We're still trying to keep the MOI as high as possible. It's very similar to last year's in terms of MOI. This is 8.7K versus 9K is 0.3 different. It's not a lot to a consumer, but it is a smaller shape, so we're able to do more with a smaller profile now that we've got these 4 weights in it. And we did that by saving more weight with our manufacturing process. So the shit, as we're seeing right here, is very neutral. You got the weight back. If you want to start messing with, you want to draw this thing, I'm going to move my weights in the heel side for you. But again, like it's a neutral product. You're hitting it really straight. This is exactly what we want to see out of this product. I mean, 10.5, 2,500. I mean, it's pretty darn perfect. Your landing angle, 35.9. I mean, everything here looks fantastic.
Yeah, I think it's interesting to see too how coming from having just hit the max to this, every single the max turned over, which is what it's supposed to do.
Yeah.
And this, every single one of them just kind of goes straight.
Yeah, that's the goal with this. We move, we go left or right adjustments. We do that with weight. We do that with loft sleeve. We don't want to do it with the head to begin with.
Yeah.
How was that one hit, Sammy?
That was a little high on the face. But I think to Andrew's point earlier about the change in the carbon face, I knew that was high on the face. I could feel that immediately.
Yep.
So I think that feedback is really good.
What I look at, Sam, whenever I see high on the face, is obviously launch and spin are gonna change, right? High launch, generally lower spin, but more importantly too, also loss of ball speed. That one specifically, at efficiency of 144, 160 ball speed, you're still actually retaining quite a bit of ball speed.
You really are, yeah. And we see that with this roll characteristic, that it just it's more forgiving in terms of the numbers and the launch and the spin rates that we're seeing. You miss on the toe, you don't get that crazy spin shot where you just lose massive amounts of distance. The other good thing about that smaller shape is you can pull it through the air faster.
Okay.
Right? So as you get smaller, things get faster. And so we can get more arrow out of this, and we're seeing our players get tremendous increases in ball speed. You know, tremendous to us is more than 3/4 of a mile an hour.
Sure.
But again, a mile an hour is 3 to 4 yards. So like Rory was testing with it, and see about 2.5 miles an hour ball speed.
That's significant.
Yeah, significant to these players.
I don't know if that guy needs to hit it much further.
I know, but he can.
I know, it's great. It's fun to watch.
Yeah. There you go.
That was good, Sammy.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah.
Flat.
Overall, though, we're seeing a lot of straight balls, a few left, a few right. It's what you expect to see with something very neutral. It's just mostly down the line.
And again, I think same as the Max, from a spin standpoint, very consistent.
Yeah, very.
That's great. Love it.
Awesome.
Let's hit the LS model, Sammy. Let's see the spin rates on that thing. All right, Sammy, we have the Qi4D LS. 2 interchangeable weights, it looks like here. Certainly a different shape from this end, but we'll see what it does from the playing profile. When you set it down, can you tell that it's the low spinning kind of version of them?
I don't know if the way it looks makes it look low spinning, but it definitely looks a little smaller. Maybe a little deeper faced as well.
Yeah, so the face size is the same. It's definitely shallower from front to back, and it's a more bulbous volume. Kind of correlated to like a balloon. You can squish balloons differently, but the volume's always the same, where the Max is sort of squished, where this one's more of like just overall bulbous shape. It makes it a faster, more slipperier body in terms of aerodynamics.
Okay, so it may swing it faster here.
Should swing faster for sure.
That's pretty good out of the gate.
That was a good swing.
I think too, Sammy, what is really interesting that TaylorMade's doing is, we're using quad, and I believe you guys are allowing consumers to hit heads that are already kind of pre-marked. Is that what I understand?
Yeah, so all our test samples across the globe, we call select fit parts, will have the fit markers in them, and you can actually purchase them as well in the head, which for a slight upcharge.
Wow.
Yeah. I'll say too, the great thing with the select fit parts with the fit markers is it's USGA legal, RNA legal, since we have it underneath our PU layer. So we've got a proprietary patented PU layer that has like a sawtooth pattern as well as score lines in it. It's a clear material, so underneath it are those fit markers, so you never have to move them. And the really cool thing about having those fit markers built in is if you look at, 0.5 millimeter of change of CG makes a big difference. Like how many people are actually measuring where those stickers are on the face from heel side to toe side, where you don't have to do any of that. It's perfectly in the system. And then we've got all our data in both TrackMans and quads so that they can actually utilize our club heads differently.
Wow. How'd that one feel, Sam?
I felt like the middle of the face.
It looked like my initial, looking where it hit kind of on the mat, looked like it came out pretty low.
Definitely lower launching, lower spinning.
Yeah.
Flatter lie angle.
It looked like it spun less.
There you go.
Yeah.
So 9 and 2000. So when I'm looking at that as a fitter, I look at that 168, that's great, right? You look at launch at 9, really good. Those two are wonderful, but the third part of the equation at spin, probably a little bit low. So when you're coming into a True Spec and you're looking at that, I call them kind of monitor golf balls. It looks really good on the monitor, but I think you take that one out to the golf course and you get kind of Mr. Wiggles out there, and that can be tough to play golf on, but it sure does go far.
And in fairness, though, if you get someone in here who is just a high spin player,
yeah.
this is who that's for.
I couldn't agree more. So it's certainly player dependent, right?
Yeah, high ball speed equals lift. So, this is really designed for a high speed swinger.
really, really well struck though, wasn't it?
That was the middle of the face. Really low spin,
Yeah.
which is what we'd expect. I think that's great.
And Andrew, now we're in, I believe we're in 5th generation carbon face. As the years have gone on, what have you seen from an engineering standpoint that makes carbon, you could argue, significantly better material versus maybe others?
Yeah, definitely a more efficient material. So when we look at the correlations between CT, which is characteristic of time, that's how the USJ RNA measure today, like it's a good field test, versus the old days where it was COR, which is coefficient of restitution, technical jargon. COR was like ball speed in, first ball speed out. CT is how long is like a hammer, a little mini hammer striking the face. How long is it staying on the face and looking at that trampoline effect.
Okay.
The heavier the material, the more it wants to move. And so imagine steel's heavier than titanium, and titanium is heavier than carbon. So carbon doesn't see as much impact of weight on the face, and so it actually correlates really good CT numbers and allows us to get really high COR numbers. So we get our COR numbers right at the limit, within range of CT that's allowable. And so on average, because our parts are more consistently made, more accurately made, we can get everything right to this limit. So you should see more speed out of the face, and you should see more speed out of the aerodynamic body.
Wow, okay. So just manufacturing at significantly tighter tolerances, faster ball speeds.
Yeah, I mean, we worked with the material for 10 years before we launched one, and now we're in the 5th generation. We're 15 years of studying this material.
Yeah.
We're now like changing the manufacturing process to make sure it's even better than before.
Great. There you go. That's gonna go forever.
I will say too, we had 3 TAS weights in last year's product. This one we have 2. We made that sort of shape tighter and underneath and smaller, and so we wanted to put more weight in the back, and so we went to a 2-weight system because I could actually make one 15 grams and one 4, and versus having a couple of 9s and a 3, and so I can get more weight in the back to keep the MOI, because even when you're swinging really hard, you still need some forgiveness.
Absolutely.
So, and the cool thing about this is the first year where it comes standard with a weight forward in the LS. Like we're really pushing low speed, high speed, low spin with this product. And so like weight forward in this one's gonna be drastically different than the weight forward in the core, but the core comes with weight back and the max comes with weight back. So we're really trying to push the separation as much as we can.
I'm all for it. We're gonna do one more here, Sammy, and then I want to do a kind of comparison between the 3 models.
Oh, bullet.
Yeah, it's on a rope. Wind cheater.
Yeah,
Great in Texas.
that feels great. I really like the way it feels.
All right, let's take a look at some numbers and compare the 3 of them. All right, Andrew, Sam, that was great. So now we have 3 very different products in the Qi4D Max, the Qi4D LS, and the Qi4D Core. Let's take a look at some numbers. If I'm glancing at this right away, my first thought is, did club head speed change? Because those ball speeds are very different, right? Mm-hmm. Let's see. Yeah, they did change. And some of that could be you warming up. Some of that could be the shape though, right?
Yeah, for sure. We would expect the LS to be the fastest of the 3. Qi4D Core be in the middle and the Max be slightly slower just because it's a larger shape. It's a little harder to move through the air. But if you looked at these compared to last year's product, I'd expect all of them to be faster than last year's.
That's great. And I mean, really these spin rates are all very playable, launch and spin conditions in good areas. Ball speeds attributes to Sam, certainly high, and the product given to him. But what I also am looking at, as a fitter, all these numbers are important and they matter. But you could also just kind of look at the graphic up top from a downrange dispersion standpoint. You could see the Qi4D Max is a little bit left bias.
Yes, right. What it's supposed to do.
That's exactly it. And then you go to your Qi4D LS, it's a little bit more bigger circle.
And fade maybe a little right of that center line, which we'd expect.
You'd expect. And then you kind of look in that middle one, your Qi4D, that's gonna be your core model. And you could see that that's smack in the middle. I don't know about the tightest dispersion, but maybe the most neutral flight.
Yeah, and again, you got more weight to play with in terms of you got 4 TAS weights. So we want it to be neutral in that back setting and then give you the capability to do whatever you need to do with it as a fitter.
Yeah, so as a fitter, we want to change the weights, we want to change the loft sleeves, we want to look at this ball data and graph and say, the ball's doing this, that's great. Let's also make sure downrange it's tight. Okay, and TaylorMade with the new Qi4D has provided us tools to do so. We're excited. Andrew, I can't thank you enough for joining us today here in Scottsdale. When you're ready to get fit for the new Qi4D driver, book your driver fitting at your local True Spec and we'll get you dialed in.